Hello students, welcome back to another lesson of Beehive, the little girl. It's the third lesson written by Katherine Mansfield. You can see her beautiful picture right on the screen. Now let's know a little bit more about the author Katherine Mansfield. She was born on 14th October 1888 in New Zealand and died on 9th January 1923 in France. She wrote many books like In a German Pension in 1911, The Garden Party in 1922, and The Alloy in 1930, and many more. Now let's begin with the characters from the story The Little Girl. The first character is Kezia, who's a very young little girl, scared from her father. Then we have Kezia's father, who's a very tall, strong man. Then we have Kezia's mother, her grandmother, the cook, and the name of the cook is Alice. Then we have neighbor of Kezia, who is Mr. MacDonald, and he has 5 children, and the youngest one is Mayo. So students, here I have picked some important words from this lesson. So let's go through them one by one. A figure to be feared means a person to be frightened of. Sense of relief means feeling of rest. Terrifying, frightening. Pull off means take off something. Spectacles means the glasses that we wear. Stuttered means stammered, when you are not able to speak properly. Wretched means unhappy. Stretched out means to spread. Hue and cry means angry protest when there's a lot of noise in the house. Gravely means deeply. Indoors means inside our home. Laboriously means with great difficulty. Dragged, pulled. Bedclothes means basically bed sheets. Nightmare means scary dreams that we see. Tucked up means covered up nicely in bed. Snuggled, moved into a warm position. Big heart, a man of great ideas. And stirred, which means shook, which is basically a past tense of shake. So students, now let me start with the explanation of this chapter. The story is of a little girl named Kezia. She was very much scared of her father. To her, father was a person to be feared of. Now there are many reasons behind it. First of all, not only her father was very strict, but he was very, very tall and big, like a giant in size. And Kezia's height was too small in front of her father. And even the hands of her father were very, very big. Now before going to office, he used to give her a casual kiss, but she was even scared of this. And she used to feel very relieved after hearing the noise of the carriage taking her father away. And then she used to relax and roam freely in the home. In the evenings after return of her father, Kezia used to pull off his boots and she used to keep them outside as per the grandmother's instruction. Whenever her father asked her something, she used to stammer in front of her father. That means she was not able to speak clearly. On Sunday afternoons, grandmother used to send Kezia down to the drawing room to have a nice talk with her father and mother, but all the time Kezia found her mother reading and her father stretched out on the sofa with a handkerchief on his face, and she could see his feet on one of the best cushions and sleeping soundly and snoring. She used to just sit there like an owl staring her father for hours. Now one fine day, Kezia's grandmother tells Kezia that her father's birthday is coming next week, and she suggested her that she could make him a pin cushion as a gift. So for this, she gives her a piece of a yellow silk. Now Kezia wanders into the garden and here and there in the house. She goes into the mother's bedroom to look for some scraps, something like cotton or anything which she could use to fill up that cushion. But poor Kezia could not find anything in the house. Finally, she goes into the bedroom and finds some white sheets scattered here and there. She picks them up, tears them up, and fills that into the cushion. So that night there were a lot of arguments in the house because the father's great speech for the Port Authority had been lost. Now all the rooms in the house were searched, servants were questioned, and finally it was found that it was Kezia who had torn the speech papers and stuffed them into the cushion. So because of this, her father punished her by beating a ruler on her pink hands. She was wrapped by the grandmother in a shawl on a rocking chair, and the poor child Kezia clung to her soft body, sobbing. Now Kezia was more scared from her father after this incident, and she even asked her grandmother that what did God made fathers for? Next time she saw her father, and she quickly put both her hands behind her back, and a red color flew into her cheeks. That means she was so much scared of her father that her cheeks used to turn red. One day, through the hole in the fence in her home garden, she saw her neighbor, Mr. McDonald. He was playing with his 5 children, and the youngest one of them, who was baby Mao, he was sitting on his neck. And then she decided that they were different kind of fathers, and her father was different than Mr. McDonald's. Now, one fine day, her mother became ill, so the grandmother had to go to the hospital to accompany her mother. The little girl was left alone in the house with the cook Alice, as her father was also out for office. Now, she had often seen nightmares, means scary dreams, and she used to be taken away by the grandmother into her bed as she couldn't stay in the dark. She was usually scared by the butcher's dream, which she used to be seen very often. The cook assured her that nothing would happen that night as he had to leave for the day. Unfortunately, the same old nightmare came in her dreams. The butcher with a knife and a rope, who came nearer and nearer, smiling that scary smile. While she could not move, she could only stand still and cried out. And then she woke up shivering to see that her father was actually standing beside her bed with a candle in her hand. Kezia was a little relaxed, but again scared. Her father caught her up in his arms and carried her to his big bedroom. He then carefully tucked her up, which means covered her up with a blanket, and then laid down beside her. Half asleep, Kezia, she kept close to her father and held tightly to his shirt. A funny feeling came over her because it's the first time she was ever close to her father. She realized finally that her father was harder than grandmother, but it was a nice hardness. His father was too much tired of his work, and that's the reason he could not spend time with her like Mr. McDonald did with his children. Finally, all her misconceptions about her father were cleared from her mind, and she was happy to know that even her father had a big heart. This is how the story ends. I hope you really loved the story. So I hope, students, I was able to explain you the story, including all the important points. And thank you again for watching this lovely video. My next video will be on Beehive lesson number 4, which is a beautiful story on Albert Einstein, and the name is Truly Beautiful Mind. Till then, please subscribe to our channel and keep going through all the educational videos that I've uploaded there for you. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.